Celeste is an amazing game, and when it first came out in 2018, I think it really created a whole new audience for these games of challenging platformers, and I think it really paved the way for games like Cuphead and Dead Cells to really thrive. Celeste also really ignited a whole speedrunning community around it. I think after Mario games, Celeste is like one of the most speedrun games. Celeste is probably the only game with a trans main character. I don't think I can think of any others, and just the story and the gameplay is just out of this world. So obviously when you have a game that amazing, there's gonna be other games that want to capture that same spot in the cultural zeitgeist, and one of these games is Ageless, created by a Malaysian developer in 2020. Ageless really has everything that you would want from a successor to Celeste and more. It takes all the platforming gameplay of Celeste and adds its own little twist to it. So the main mechanic of the game is this age up and down mechanic, where you can age up and down things around you and use these to solve platforming puzzles. There's also this ageless mode, which basically lets you do the same thing but also boost off of things that you're aging down. Then each level has its own mechanics, including places where you age up and down a fish to move around a waterfall, or literally dying and interacting with things that are in this ghostly realm to then come back to life right at the end of your platforming puzzle and make sure you're not dead for too long, otherwise it's permanent. The story itself is heavily inspired from Celeste as well. It's a journey of someone finding their own purpose and figuring out their value as they go through this journey. And the graphics, similar to Celeste, are these amazing vibrant pixel art graphics with just the right amount of minimalism that really captures a great vibe. And it's really disappointing that according to SteamDB, the all-time highest concurrent players this game has ever had is only a measly 170. And I wanted to know why, because on the surface this game has everything you would want from a Celeste sequel. So what I did is I 100%ed it to figure out exactly what was up. Now the 100% for Ageless is pretty simple. You basically play through the entire game. There's a few hidden achievements here and there. They're not actually hidden. The Steam achievements page, and I'm assuming the PlayStation and Xbox page is the same, where it just tells you what you need to do, which is like staying underwater for 1 minute and also talking to a few people. These are the hidden ones. And then there's also these things called relics in the game. Now relics serve a similar purpose to strawberries in Celeste, where these offer you a more challenging optional part of the game where you have to solve these really challenging puzzles. Sometimes they even have their own specific mechanics that you won't really see throughout the game, but you will see for that challenge. I will say one thing: relics do not really have a story implication, so that's where this game sort of falls short, because at least collecting the strawberries in Celeste did give you a small little story tidbit that Ageless just doesn't have. One thing I did realize was, and I think this might be the reason why this game doesn't really get recommended even by people that played it, is that perhaps the responsiveness of your actions is a bit lacking in this game. So for example, there's these specific instances in the game that may require you to do some very thinly timed jumps. However, sometimes the button just doesn't work. There's a few times where I was trying to get on top of a fish to navigate and the button just didn't work. The second sort of nitpick that I had with this game is perhaps the mechanic might be a bit too complex. I think Celeste does a really good job with keeping its mechanics very simple. All you can do is jump, grab, and dash, and those mechanics interact with the world so vastly and so differently that it just feels very intuitive. And I think there's a bunch of stuff in Ageless that might not feel intuitive, like sometimes you have to jump and then shoot something, age it up at the same time between your jump, and then go into Ageless mode to take advantage of that thing being aged up or down. And I think that's a lot of different things to pull off and a lot of different mechanics to pull off in one instance, which might be a bit too complex. But then again, a lot of people like that, including me. I really like pulling off very complex maneuvers in video games. So perhaps, I don't know, if you're someone who's really into speedrunning, this might be something to check out as well. So it took me about 20 hours to 100% this game. This means getting all the Steam achievements and then doing all the things the game wants me to do, which is mainly just going through the story. And I really wanted to talk about this game because I feel like this game really deserves a lot more than just having a peak of 170. And I feel like if you enjoyed me talking about this game, maybe go grab it, maybe go play it out. I know the people who made Celeste are already making Earthblade, and Earthblade's gonna come out. It's gonna be great. But while you're waiting for Earthblade, maybe give Ageless a try. I would definitely categorize this game as a hidden gem, and I think that's one thing I'm trying to do with this channel of mine, is highlight some games that I play as a game developer, as someone who understands game design. I want to point out those games that don't get the attention but do things well, and I think Ageless really tries to execute well on everything it sets out to do. Sure, it has some drawbacks here and there, but I do think this game deserves a lot of attention, and if you decide to check it out, feel free to let me know how you feel about it. But if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.